Hey, thank you for joining me in my little corner of the world. Over to you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Whether you are watching me on YouTube or you are downloading me on something like Spotify or even Amazon Music, thank you so much. This week, I am talking with a wonderful talent. This guy's amazing. His name is Brayden Baird, and he has a new album out, and it's just amazing, like so many of my guests here have been doing. Brayden is really into the technical aspects of sound recording and has done a lot of producing, but he puts out his own work as well, and he's got a nice little catalog. His new album is called Lord, Why Do You Do These Things to Me? And it's very autobiographical. We really get into it. He's got a really interesting story about his dad. Please listen to our episode and stay tuned. He's got a great story about his father, and don't cheat. Listen to our discussion. This is really awesome. We really get into a lot of good stuff. He's had this album out since mid-June of this year of 2025 as we record this. And this is just a spectacular release. I really recommend it. Really going over a lot of the songs with him and how he came up with the ideas and the sound quality of it as well. He's a master in the studio and a real gifted artist who has great stories to tell. I think it is just a magnificent album. Get it wherever you get it. Brayden Baird. Brayden, Baird, Baird. He's amazing. Really check it out. And here's our lovely talk. We talk about many, many things. The great thing is, he's in New York. And he not only is he in New York, he is in Brooklyn. It's kind of interesting, but let's see what Brayden is up to here. And joining me this morning, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing? What's going
Hey,
on?
how's it going? How's it going? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, actually better than I would expect with most of these kind of interviews done via the old Zoom or if you're on Cisco or anything like that. It's interesting how that all comes about. So, doing well?
Awesome. Yeah, doing very good. Doing very good. Sorry I missed that last week. I'm glad that we can make this work.
Yeah, we were gonna hook up about a week ago, and sometimes the alarm clocks don't come off. That's fine.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
run into it. I've been doing this over 5 years now, so it's
Oh, so it's nothing new to you for sure.
yeah. You run into all different types of situations, no matter what you're doing, no matter what kind of job you're doing or anything. It's just you always have to adapt.
Of course, of course. Yeah, I was doing with my friends, we've been doing this thing where we've been trying to get up and get to the studio before the sun comes up. So it's like
That's a
we
good
try to
challenge.
Yeah, it's been fun to try. Like last week, we did, and I was operating off like 2 hours of sleep, and then I fell asleep in the studio, and then I woke up feeling terrible, and I was like, I had all these text messages from different. Anyway, we're here. We're here. We
No,
made
when
it.
you're in the studio and you've fallen asleep,
Yes.
and I mean, are they charging you, or is it just not that kind of a thing right now where
Oh, well,
everybody?
this is my studio. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to have your own. If you're using
Yes.
somebody else's, that's yeah, they're billing you for it.
Oh God, yeah. I would not be able to do that.
What kind of studio setup do you have?
You can kind of see it here. We just got this one room.
Okay,
I mostly work as like a music producer, so this is like the base of operations for
nice.
mixing and producing all that stuff.
Yeah, not to get too inside baseball when people stumble on this kind of stuff, but you can get as niche as you want to because it's the World Wide Web. We can like have our own little corner here where we're talking about equipment and things like that and instruments, and
Of
you could
course,
do a
yeah.
deep dive there for sure.
Yeah, let me think. Let's see. We got our piano here. That's one of my favorite things. The nice
Ooh.
little synth ball. We
For those
got the
piano geeks, what brand are you talking about there?
let's see. To be honest, someone lent it to us. So
Yeah.
I'm not really the pianist. Let's see.
That looks really nice. If you're watching
I
on
don't know. I
YouTube, you
can't
could
see a
see it.
name.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you could see that upright behind you there. That's interesting. Do you have to have like a piano tech come in there and keep tuning that?
Ideally, obviously, budgets are tight, but
Sure.
once a year someone will come in and tune it. Right now, our one of the notes doesn't work. And it just
Yeah.
so happens that it's like every time someone comes in here, they wrote a song using that note primarily. And it's like, of all the notes, why did it have to be the low B? I don't know.
I can't even imagine the pain of that. But these days, yeah, you got keyboards and electric pianos. I'm sure that's you don't worry about those kind of things.
Whatever. We'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how we do it in video.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
You got a great new album out. It's been out this summer as we speak here in 2025, summer of 2025. So, as we're recording here in the summer of 2025, how did this all come about? What is the genesis of this album?
Good question. Let's see.
It seems very,
Well,
very personal. You're really getting it out there, and a
mhm.
lot of stories behind a lot of these tracks that I've listened to. It's just very much from gut instinct and your personal experiences.
Right. So I guess, I mean, I've made albums for like 10 years now, and I've always done it myself, usually like at home on the computer with a couple friends at most. And I guess what 2021 I had written a batch of songs, which are this record. And I was kind of sick of the whole studio way of making songs. Whereas you
Yeah.
go in and then you do the drums and then you time align the drums and then you get the perfect bass and you auto tune all that stuff that like is kind of standard. And I guess it just became very grating. And so I tried to imagine a more fun classic way of doing a record where it's like people in a room interacting off of each other, So I essentially assembled this eight-piece band, I think it's eight, of like kind of my favorite players for each instrument that I wanted. So, I got like my favorite piano players, this artist Clovis Gaynor, you know,
Hmm.
uh, this my oldest friend Nick Morelli got him to play bass, and we can go, the whole track list is online, but basically I put together this band and just wanted to make a record in one day where we just like we all lent in, felt the songs. We didn't worry about wrong notes. We didn't worry about, if the tempo shifted and yeah, just tried to capture something that felt real and authentic to the way I was feeling.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I like you said, it's very personal. I felt like with every song, I wanted to say something that I would be like embarrassed to show my mom or something.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so that is ultimately what happened.
It's called Lord, Why Do You Do These Things to Me? I think a
Hmm.
lot of us could feel that way. So I mean, I think there's a connection there where it's like I just want to get this out here and let the world know how I'm feeling. And these things that happen to all of us, we all process them differently. And I think, the angle that you're getting here is that you're really showing that and
Hmm.
really, really talking about your life and the struggles because we all go through it.
Hmm.
How does that feel getting that on record? And do you have any trepidation about doing it, or is it like, I'm just gonna go for it?
I mean, I was really nervous about it going into it for sure, but obviously, like, even and it's like this when you have a conversation with somebody that's hard. It's like starting the conversation is really hard, but once you're doing it, it just feels so cathartic and uh I guess it's like a release. So it's like once I was in the moment, we were really playing the songs, it was the best day ever. Even though the songs are some of them are kind of so heavy or angry or sad. It was just like, it was like therapy, really, except all my friends were there.
Yeah, therapy. I mean, music is therapy, no matter what. There's always art therapy and that kind of thing that people just work through it. And you're just recording it and organizing it and releasing it.
Mhm.
And that's the human connection there. Now, where are you actually recording from today? What's your home base?
So I'm in Brooklyn. My
Oh,
studio is in a neighborhood that they call East Williamsburg,
I've
which
heard
is
of
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like a new neighborhood that they've made up to raise the rent, but it's basically between Bushwick and Williamsburg, like an industrial area.
Got the classic brownstones there. It got very unique architecture. You're not too far to the zoo. I've heard it's pretty legendary.
Oh, the Bronx Zoo. Yeah, I'd say I'm about like an hour away from the zoo if I
Oh,
took the
okay.
train. Yeah.
Oh, via the train, yeah.
Yeah, if I hopped on the train for sure. But yeah, it's nice. This area is kind of interesting. There's like a bunch of graffiti and they're always doing like graffiti tours. So like it kind of feels like like, oh, I'm in a grimy New York neighborhood. Like, but then you go inside and it's nice. It's kind of like a facade.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I had been there, and it's been a while since I've been up that way. But yeah, as opposed to the very sanitized Times Square and how all that changed and
Mhm.
became so
Mhm.
touristy. So you get the really New York grittiness if you just stay on the train and go over to Brooklyn. I think I got close, but
Uh-huh.
does it take a while? Because I remember getting off at a stop, and they said it would take a bit to get over to Brooklyn on the
Yeah, I mean,
subway.
if I was to go from Times Square to here, it'd be like a 45-minute train ride.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of fun. But yeah, it's grimy, it stinks. There's like a ramen factory right outside,
Oh
but
gosh.
that doesn't sound bad, but when it's like 90 degrees and the air is thick with ramen smell, it's like it gets to be a lot, but it's part of the fun. Yeah.
And you kind of refer to this, you have a track called Light in the Tunnel, kind of
Right.
chronicling your New York experience there.
For sure. Yeah, that was I think I wrote that in the first year I was here. Just about, walking like yeah, going outside, walking to the train. I think I lived about a 15-minute walk from the train. So it'd be that walk to the train is where I originally came up with the song in my head, where I literally walking to the train alone. It's very literal.
And where did you come from? You say you were in New York a certain amount of time now.
Yeah, so I've been in New York since 2021, but I moved here from Burlington, Vermont.
Ah.
Yeah, you familiar with Vermont at all?
I've heard of it. Yes, I've heard. I've come close. I was in Quebec City. It's probably about
Oh,
as close as I got to that part of Vermont.
sure. Yeah, that's similar. It's like right I think it's about a couple hours drive from there to Burlington.
Yeah, yeah, it looks beautiful up that way. And I keep saying I'm always jealous as I'm recording here in the summer because it's just, I'm in the Atlanta metro area and it's
Oh,
just, oh, the heat and the humidity this time of the year. It's just oppressive. So I think
gotta be.
about places like Vermont to try to cool off.
Oh, if you ever get a chance to go to Vermont in the summertime, you really should. It's like the Garden
Yeah,
of Eden.
I
But if you go in the
bet.
winter, I would prepare yourself for
Yeah,
sure.
probably dank. Yeah, you pay your dues in the winter to have nice
Oh,
summers.
and the winter's 9 months long, so it's like
Oh,
it's a lot. I think there's a certain like attitude in Burlington that I think is probably heavily due to that grit. Like real Vermonters, are like tough, like deep
oh yeah.
Vermonters. They're like, they live through their farming and they're outside in negative 30 degrees weather in a flannel and it's a totally different world.
Oh,
For
God.
sure.
I would imagine it makes you very hardy, those people in the Northeast. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, so I mean
Oh,
we
sure.
kind of a taste of that, but like up
Similar.
there, we were under a lot of snow from being on the lake. So it's just like, if you got more south of Cleveland, you get towards Columbus, it's not nearly as bad or as hardy. So yeah, I could understand that feeling of being in
Mhm.
an area like that. Shoveling snow. I
Yeah.
cannot miss it.
But you were living on the lake in Cleveland?
Yeah, we weren't too far to the Lake
Yeah,
Erie.
that's kind of similar to Burlington then. Burlington's also on the lake, so you get that wind chill, which
Oh, yeah, it's
protect
brutal.
you.
Yeah.
It's
I did internships in downtown Cleveland and the second internship I did was in the winter time. It was like a 6 week internship called a practicum. And I remember walking because the station was downtown right on the lake. And I had a park. I didn't have parking. I had to park off site and walk to the studio every day. And the winds would just whip at you, whip at you. I can understand how the people feel in Chicago. It's just bam, it's this real cold wind. It's something I haven't experienced in decades. It's a
yeah, I'm sure you
completely
don't miss
different world. Yeah,
it.
don't miss that at all. But yeah, not as bad in New York. I mean, you get your nor'easters that kind of affect it, but yeah, New York doesn't get it like Cleveland does.
There's no way. There's no way. I
Yeah.
mean, The winter surprised me because when I first moved here, I thought, maybe I should have moved somewhere like Atlanta because I wanted to get away from the cold. But then I realized New York is like this, it's like a bubble. Like for some reason, it's really warm. Like even in
Yeah.
the winter, it rarely gets below freezing. And I didn't know that. At least maybe
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But
And part of it could be is that it's a heat island. You have so many people packed into a
Mhm.
very tight area there.
Right.
I would always get a little claustrophobic being in Manhattan. It's just like, I remember being there. I went there when I was about 17 and many
Hmm.
decades ago. I remember it's like after 2 or 3 days, I can't see out. It's just building, 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 building.
Yeah, I don't love going there myself. I mean, Brooklyn's a nice like in between. Like there's little spots that are busy, but even last night I was in Manhattan to go to like this there was took this world building class or something, this free class, and just being in the city, I'm rarely there. And just the amount of people, I was overwhelmed too. And it's like
Yeah.
it's not it's too busy up there.
Yeah, I bet it is. It's you're just packed in like rats. It is
Hmm.
a serious rat race, and they have actual rats there. That's been a big problem lately up in New York. So yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, they
it's
like
quite a big
hired
one.
that rad czar to kill. It was this whole thing where someone's whole job was to find the way to kill the most rats.
Oh my
It was this
gosh.
weird part of the last couple of years, but
Yeah, there's either a song or a movie in that, The Rat Hunter or something like
yeah, I
somebody
think they
like
called him the rat czar.
the
It was even like
czar.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's become a big thing. So on this new project, you did get somebody from Vermont to help produce, Dan Rome, uh,
Hmm.
somebody who you had known for many years now.
Yeah, I mean, I knew of him from being in Burlington because he was, involved in the scene out there. And he had built out this studio with a good friend, Mark Balderston. And yeah, Mark Balderston was working at the studio with Dan. I was in New York, and I sent my project to Mark, and
Mm.
then he connected me with Dan and brought us all in, and we spent a week there, like kind of all hanging out before the tracking, and but yeah, it was great working with them. Like I since I usually do a lot of like recording people's my job, it's
Yeah.
nice to have someone else be the one to record. I didn't want to think about computers and microphones and stuff that those days.
Yeah, you could totally concentrate on being the performer, not sitting
Right.
there worrying about all the technical, leave that up to somebody else to
Mhm.
be on the knobs. So who do you record for? That's, I guess that's what you would call your day gig.
It's a lot of like, I work with like on average somewhere around like 30 different artists, mostly
Mm.
producing. Uh, like I said, this piano player, Clovis Gaynor, he's got
Mm.
a great project I work on a lot. I work with this artist Luxtress, she does like this kind of like freaky pop. And then, I work with some people who do more like country. But yeah, when I first came to New York, it was purely all drill rap, which was really interesting.
Drill rap. I haven't heard of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Something new.
It's like it's kind of like a regional rap form that was really popular during the pandemic and like the few years after. It's just like it was interesting. I just got a job in a studio and I didn't really know anything about the like, the culture, or, like the music at all, and like was just thrown into this world of 8 hours a day working with all these different drill rappers, and it was really amazing, honestly. And there's so many incredible unknown artists everywhere.
Yeah, there
That's what
really
I
are.
really learned from working there. It was like just some person would come in off the street and they would, come in and rent out the studio for 3 hours, and it would be like some of the best lyrics I'd ever heard. And then it would
Mm.
just the song would never even come out. And it was like this crazy perspective. But yeah, so that was what I did for a long time. But now it's a lot of, indie pop. I try to work with artists who want to do something weird,
Hmm.
and try to lean most of my artists. Like, if they want to do a pop song, it's like, okay, but what if you use more bad words? Or like, what if,
Let's
like,
be
what if we
challenging here. Live on
something,
the edge.
yeah, it's always fun to try to find what someone is afraid to do and be like, let's do that actually, instead of like, let's just make another pop song.
Interesting. Yeah, pushing the envelope and experimenting. That's got to be great to be able to do that.
Right. And I mean, it was fun to do with my project where like I didn't have to work with. anyone else's insecurities, like just my own. So, a lot of people don't want to put out songs where the vocals are out of tune and like they don't want to put out songs where like the timing shifts, or maybe they wouldn't want to say certain things because they're worried like their boss will hear it. And so
Okay.
like yeah, it was fun. It's I do like doing my own music for that reason when I can, because yeah, it's just fun. It's fun to not be constrained by whatever we think people want.
Yeah, that is. It's very freeing to be able to do that. I do that, because I'm doing this podcast. It's like, this is a form of expression. I'm able to do this on my own. Nobody's dictating to me how to do it. So it's kind of fun to be able to have that freedom for sure. And then you've had a lot of freedom to be able to explore a lot of issues like you have on this new release. You're able to really get incredibly personal, like It Kills Me to See You So Sick. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Kills Me to See You Sick is very much, you know, exploring what you have gone through and seeing somebody with their health challenges, and really getting autobiographical in that track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it felt good. It felt good to express like the angry side of being
Yeah,
sad, or like pain, because I feel like it's one thing to be like, "Oh, I'm so sad. The world is trying to defeat me. I'm so broken. I'm so whatever." But it felt good to kind of explore that pain from like a place of power. Like
yeah.
obviously, yeah, being I wish you'd all die instead of her was kind of hard to say at first, but it was the way I felt.
Yeah, yeah. When you sing a family member, especially with cancer, it's really, really rough. And then you have to get mad at the medical community, who's on one hand trying to say, "Hey, they're helping you," and trying to give you all this hope, but at the
Mhm.
end, it's terminal and it's not helping. It's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to heal. I mean, and you promised me
Right. But you're still
yeah,
getting paid. Yeah.
yeah, and
You're
they're
still
getting
making
paid.
a fortune off of our pain, which it is hard to wrap your head around.
I
Because
know,
if
and then there's always that cynical part, and I've helped out with medical news quite a bit over the years too. And I remember we were doing an interview with somebody who had a double mastectomy. I mean, this sister had a double mastectomy. I think her sister was very far along. I don't know if she was terminal, but she made a point like, why would they develop a cure for cancer? I mean, their
Mhm.
profits would dry up.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
it's just so mean. I mean, you can feel on one hand, yeah, that's being cynical. On the other hand, no, they're people just like us.
Hmm.
They got to make a living, but it seems like they make obscene profits from
Hmm.
certain drugs and things like that. It's just what a mess healthcare is. It's just,
It is a mess. But you're right. It's interesting because it's hard to see any one person as evil, because it's like everybody is just doing, either what they can. And I do believe like most doctors probably do just want to save lives. And it's
yeah.
just like the system that exists, it like forces this evil thing to happen where they're just profiting off death and sickness. And yeah, it's hard to see, to be honest.
It
Yeah. Every
is.
experience I have with it makes my stomach hurt. It's
Yeah,
just
it's hard to reconcile that too. And I understand people on all sides with the vaccines and things like that. It's like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, but they make obscene profits, the pharmaceuticals. But at the same time, they were able to knock down the COVID numbers. So where's, maybe it's somewhere the truth is somewhere in between. I don't know. It's really rough.
Yeah, it is rough, and yeah, it's interesting why I guess we're going to this, but it is interesting watching the way they continue to try to push it and make more and more money. And I don't know, it is hard to see it as a good thing, but
Yeah.
whatever, it is
Then
what
you're
it
getting into like pharmaceuticals, they advertise, which
Hmm.
was never happening many decades ago. There was a green light for them to go do that. And it's like,
Right.
oh my gosh, this whole thing with Ozempic and all these other drugs, it's just it's unbelievable.
Hmm.
Truly
Yeah,
is.
it's really bleak. It is hard. I've been on this kick recently where yeah, I've always been angry at the system. But like
Yeah,
recently,
yeah.
I've been like, especially, like when you're 13 and you're like, I hate the school system. And then,
Uh-huh.
got a little older and I was like, oh, that's kind of immature. Like, we're all doing our thing. And like now that I'm getting near 30 again, I'm right back to hating the system. I'm like, actually, no, I was right when I was 13. The system is messed up and I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I know. I try to be empathetic. I always did, even when I was younger. Like, oh well, yeah, but these teachers got to make a living. I mean, they got to put bread on the table too, just like the
Right.
rest of us. But yeah, oh, they're such SOBs. Like,
Yeah.
it's like disciplining me. Yeah. So, what kind of music were you into growing up?
Oh yeah, I loved I mean when I didn't even really care about music until honestly I was like 12 years old in sixth or seventh grade. And then I found out about Guns N' Roses and I like fell in love with Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith and
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
obsessed with them. And then maybe a year later when I was 13, it was Green Day. And
Okay.
Green Day was like everything to me in middle school. I just wanted to be just like Billy Joe Armstrong and sing about, yeah, just I loved it. Just like play the CDs front to back and just like sing along and I guess punk was always big to me when I was a kid for sure.
Yeah, and we could hear it in this release as well. But yeah, Green Day, when American Idiot came out, I was like, yeah, I mean, now that edge is back. I would
Hmm.
think, back in the 80s, things were so sanitized overall. I mean, there was an underground movement. We had Violent Femmes, which I see that
Hmm.
is a pretty big influence on you. But yeah, when
Hmm.
we got into the 90s, and I was so happy when grunge came in and kind of put an end to the whole plasticky 80s and the hair bands and all that. It kind of shoved that to the side, not to knock them. And there were people who were into that, but I
No.
wasn't. But I love the grunge stuff and the way that came in because it felt so real. And then Green
Hmm.
Day comes out in the early aughts with American
Hmm.
Idiot. And yeah, and just a very thematic album and the way that that played and just the angst and everything that was going on at that time. We were in and an unnecessary war. And it's kind of funny how history has just changed so much. Now
Hmm.
people are way right of center. Oh yeah, yeah. They thought the Iraq War was this complete total boondoggle, and but not at the time in '04. It was rah rah
Right.
rah, let's rush to war. And we had Green Day, who was one of the few voices that were protesting, along with on the countryside was Dixie Chicks.
Right, of course.
So yeah, that's interesting. Great band to get into when you're going through school, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, like they're kind of like the gateway to all the other real punk, like
Oh yeah,
Ramon or Black Flag or even Gigi Allen. Weirdly, I love Gigi Allen. He's kind
yeah,
of like a lot of people are like not a lot of some people wouldn't be happy if you said you liked him, but it's hard for me to not look past the person and just enjoy like the whole chaos of it. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned this thing about the 80s because it's something I feel like I've been noticing the way history repeats, where
yeah,
I kind of
yeah.
feel like for the last 10 or so years we've been in that kind of like 80s. Everything is, super auto-tuned, everything's all effects and electronic and all the songs are about like, oh, I'm in love and the world is beautiful. And we've been in kind of that washed 80s false reality. But I do think I've noticed in the last couple of years that more and more people are looking for something that's like, I don't know, where they're not trying to sell you something. They're trying to just say, this is
Yeah.
how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do. We see the huge mainstream acts now, even these Uber performers who have like,
Mhm.
10 producers on one track
Right.
and,
Yeah.
15 writers. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, and they make lots of money and really fill up the stadiums. And then we have this other side, and it's good to have the variety if you're into that. So, something to pick from, a smorgasbord of things like that. So yeah, it's good to have that, but it seems like yeah, it's really the punk thing has really tapped into you. I remember the Ramones
Hmm.
up your way in New York. There was a guy named Uncle Floyd. It's the first time I ever saw the Ramones. I don't know if it was when Rock and Roll High School came out or
Oh, you
it
saw
was
the remote?
no on TV. The first time I ever saw them was on the show called Uncle Floyd, which I think was out of New Jersey over there, maybe the Secaucus station WOR. And I was like, what is this? Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it was the early 80s. It was because they syndicated Uncle Floyd during the summer of 82. And I
Okay.
remember stumbling on them. I was like, what is this all about? I want to be sedated. Like,
Yeah,
and then I did see Rock and Roll High School on cable when cable started rising. So really
sure.
opened my eyes up to a lot of things. I was like, yeah, these guys are fast and the songs are short. And it's like, what's up with the Ramones? So
Uh-huh.
it is. I could see that attraction to it.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it meant a lot to me. I think the first time I heard them, because like I was just like some kid, and at that
Yeah.
point I lived in Vermont, like really deep in the woods. Like there was really 1,000 people in our town.
Oh
There
wow.
was maybe less than 100 people in the school. It was a very small community. And yeah, I never thought that I could do music because it was like, oh, I wasn't, I couldn't take lessons. We couldn't afford it. Like I was never going to be any good. I wasn't going to go to all states or whatever. And then I heard the Ramones and I was like, wait, I could do this today. I'm 13.
It's fun
Yeah.
to hear that. And, a lot of people, the boomers were always like, oh, the Beatles. I remember when they came on Ed Sullivan in 1964. Oh, that changed my life. So many from that generation who I've spoken with in the music business was like, that was it. But you didn't have much choice back then. It was only
Right.
like they only had three broadcast channels to view back then. It's just a way different world now. But to hear how the Ramones like say, yeah, if those guys, I could do this.
Hmm.
But then you're from Burlington, so how did people feel about you going into music? There was like, oh, come on, kid, this is a fantasy.
Oh, of course. Yeah. When I was in middle school, actually, sorry, one second. Let me send this back. Still an interview. Hold on. Sorry, that's a client. That's a little early.
That's
So,
fine. Yeah, that happens with our. Always keep the phones on, and people
uh,
want instant communication. If they, don't you get this anxiety? It's like if I don't,
oh my God,
if
it
I don't
drives me
write.
crazy. And having to be the one that takes all the calls or else I don't eat, it's like I can't
Right,
escape. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, when I was in school, I'll never forget. Yeah, people were like, other kids and teachers would directly say to me, it's crazy for you to dream to be a musician. You'll never be a musician. You can't sing. You don't look good enough. If you were, I mean, even when I was like 16, it's people would be like, oh, well, if you're not already on your way, like you'll never be there. Like,
right.
Lord was famous and she was 14 or whatever. And it's like, everyone's always trying to stop you from thinking outside the box.
I know
And
you do
like,
feel like the world's against you. It's like, hell with you. I mean, I'm gonna do this. It's
mhm,
you gotta find your supporters because it's not even gonna be family and friends. It's like, oh, come on, what are you talking about?
mhm. Yeah, and I mean, with a lot of people, a lot of people I know, even their families tried to stop, like, didn't want them to do it. And like some of the adults I work with now who are coming back to music, it's like so many of them have these stories of, their parents said they had to go to law school, so they haven't played guitar in 10 years. Or like, you really see it. I mean, it's one of those things, like if you want to be an artist, you have to be the one to decide. And like people are always not going to want you to do it. It's just like for some reason the way it is.
Yeah.
But and in some ways, maybe it's a good thing because it's like if you're not going to fight for it, what's even the point? So like it makes sense to have these barriers. But
Yeah, yeah. You can't be discouraged. You got to really believe in yourself and just keep soldiering on. It's got to be like a true dedication. It's not just
Mhm.
being on the side. I see a lot of this. Of course, I'm in the burbs and everything, so I see a lot of
Mhm.
dad bands and things like that. It's
Mhm.
like all these people, it's just funny. There's something else for a movie, maybe. Dad bands.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's interesting stuff. And the thing is, like, especially now more than ever, if you want to be a musician, it's like your goal really sh can't be to be famous because, like, we've had the same pop stars for 15 years. At this point, it's got to be like for you.
yeah,
I think that's another thing people struggle with is like, oh, but no one goes to my shows. I'm not famous, so no one listens to my song. And it's like no one listens to my songs really. Like, I mean, it's nice that I'm on this interview, but like in
yeah.
general, it's like I've never had anything even close to what you would call success. But like part of the journey is I think you just have to really do it for you.
Yeah.
And if it's for any other reason, it's like
Hmm.
you're probably not gonna get what you're looking for.
Yeah, you just believe it in yourself. You build your own catalog. If people stumble on it, that's great.
Hmm.
And just you got to find your voice. And this is
Hmm.
one way of doing it. And the nice thing is, and I keep saying it, is like everybody can get their hands on this equipment. And that's also the
Hmm.
bad thing too, because we got a
Hmm.
lot of content out there.
Right.
But I have a lot of these interviews and stuff like that, and I talk mainly it is people who are off that radar. It's not. I'm not talking to mainstream people. I have like maybe 2 or 3 degrees of separation to some people in the mainstream. I've talked to
Hmm.
people who are in Billy Joel's band, people like
Right.
that, but not like the performer himself. How many interviews has that guy done? I don't think he wants to hear
Right.
from me. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Tell me about Piano Man.
Ah, geez, same stories. His new documentary's out this summer, which I'm excited about. It looks
Oh, is
from,
there?
yeah, it's coming out tonight, that part one, and then the part two comes out the week after. I know, probably in New York, you probably get a heavy dose of Billy, but I've done a lot
I
of
haven't thought
stuff.
about him in a while, but
Yeah,
the last 3 days, someone has brought up Billy Joel, and it's like I almost never even think about the guy, but he just keeps coming up. It's so funny.
it's a New
I
York
love him.
institution, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
but
It's just like, I always have this. In fact, I saw him backstage. I interviewed his lead guitarist about 8 years ago when he came here. And looks like any other guy. He wants to really just blend into the room. He's just sitting there
mhm.
smoking, looking off into the distance. It's just normal guy, really, but makes, 30 million a year or whatever. Just
Yeah, right. I saw like I think he makes $1 million or something every time he plays MSG,
yeah,
which like
just
I think he did it once a month for at least 10 years, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
incredible. Yeah,
Just one night, $1 million. Wow, it's great. He takes
but it's
care
just
of
fun.
yeah, it does. That is, I mean, legacy performers love him and all. I mean, he packed the arena all the time. But yeah, these legacy performers keep going on and it doesn't really usher in a lot of the newer talent.
Yeah, it's true. And it is complicated how I feel about it because obviously Billy Joel deserves whatever he gets, you know. He
Oh
wrote
yeah.
so many incredible songs, but it is a good point. Like, I mean, if you look at the pop world, it's like if you really look at the top 10, the amount of artists that are new, even in the last 5 years, is like it's got to be less than a dozen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's almost all artists who've been famous already for 15, 20 years, which is it's very bizarre. And being in the producing side of the industry, you kind of like I definitely see labels don't want new acts.
Mm,
Like they're just not interested. And if they are interested, they kind of want to grab somebody that's hot and then like milk it and then drop them. You know what I mean?
I
It's
know. Cruel business. Cruel
it is.
business.
Yeah.
I've seen it for years. Yeah, a lot of one-hit wonders and people who maybe had a very short catalog, and these record companies, including Billy Joel's, they were ready to drop him before The Stranger came out in 1977. So it
Sure.
was, even back then, it was just maybe a different business. But yeah, if you weren't hitting, they dropped you
Hmm.
really
Yeah,
bad.
it's too bad. Yeah, but I have been thinking that there's an interesting revolution with music going on. Like you were saying, anybody can do it now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's sort of it's taken the power away from, the labels that, used to decide everything that would be released.
Oh
And
yeah.
and obviously there's a lot of trash, but like it's it's a big revolution. And I kind of hope my hope is that the whole music industry falls apart and there's no money anymore, so that everything becomes localized and special again. Instead of like, I just don't understand why every single person who puts out a song wants to be a star all over the world.
Yeah.
Like what about your community? Like whatever happened to when musicians used to like entertain the people around them and be a part of their community,
Mm,
and like this mass, like everyone wants to be for everybody, which it just kind of I think that's why everything has become so sterilized, to
yeah.
be honest with you.
It really is. It's legacy media that really promotes that and makes it look glamorous. I mean, hey,
Hmm.
you're a big star like Taylor Swift. I mean, you're filling
Yeah.
stadiums and she's on TMZ almost like every other night. And it's like
Right.
so glamorous. And, like we got to care about the boyfriend. And It's like,
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh, but and people look at that. I think, young girls especially who want to do that, probably, "Oh, that's so glamorous. I'm gonna be the next Taylor, and it's so
hmm
glamorous, and I want that life."
hmm
But they glamorize that kind of stuff, and the more real kind of people just, they're not the squeaky wheels. They're not getting that
Right.
attention.
Of course, yeah. And even with Taylor Swift and I'm sure I'm overlooking, I'm sure I'm making assumptions, but I do wonder how great it really is to be one of those people where you've lost control over your image totally.
Oh yeah,
And like,
yeah.
I know Taylor Swift is like at her roots just like an amazing songwriter who just probably loves music. And like now she gets worked like a dog kind of by the industry and like you see, I mean, I think that with like artists like Lana Del Rey too, who is just like a songwriter and an artist, but because of the nature of the business, has to be like the symbol and has to
Hmm.
be like, they have to be right all the time. They have to say the right thing, wear the right thing. And I don't know. I wonder if it's worth it. I'll have to, if I ever get a chance to ask them, I guess I will.
Yeah, yeah. That is interesting. I'm wondering how it is on the other side and to live
Mhm.
that kind of a life. Although, yeah, it might look great from the outside and you
Mhm.
have all your resources at your disposal. Yeah, their struggles are far different than most of us. Yeah,
Right.
that's definitely.
Obviously, like they're rich, so like
Yeah,
I'm sure it's not
money's
all
no
bad,
problem.
but life's not all about money.
No, it really isn't. A lot of us just can't understand that. Yeah, we
Yeah,
would love to have those problems, but then again, what is it like to have those problems? That's a whole other animal. And
exactly.
and they can't even really express that because they have their guards up too. They have to have their sense of privacy as
hmm
well. So yeah, where did you come up with the once in a lifetime band as
Mm.
that name?
I'm trying to think of where I came up with it. I think it really all came from me just like walking around and like I just had that idea. Or yeah, because I have this thing with my live shows where I never like having the same band or doing the same set or
Hmm,
doing the songs the same way.
mix it
So I
up.
had this
Yeah.
concept of like every show will be once in a lifetime. Like, even if there's 8 people there, they're the only 8 people that will ever see that show. So that's essentially where the idea comes from. And I still keep that going. I don't perform a ton, but I want to do something different every single time so that like, something is sacred, maybe the
So
moment.
you have over 25 albums under various names.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know how big that thing got, but yeah, that's cool. So what kind of venues do you play up that way?
Let's see, where do I play? I've played like some of the ones that maybe you would know, like, I've done shows at the Bowery Electric and maybe Mercury Lounge, pianos.
Hmm.
Um, but usually I'll play these small venues because, again, like my audience is very niche. So if the room can fit 30 people, like that's probably enough. So like I'll play places like there's this venue called Bar Frida, which is like the basement of this bar, this grungy basement in Ridgewood, New York in Queens. And I'll play there. It's like the sound's awful, it's not comfortable. But like, that's where we can play. And they don't charge us to play there, which a lot of venues do. But there's also this great venue, it's called the Rabbit Hole. And it's DIY, like truly. And you can kind of charge whatever you want for tickets. And it's like it feels really industrial and grimy and concretey. And the sound actually is good. And I love the Rabbit Hole. It's probably my favorite venue. And you can smoke in there, which is kind of fun, kind of unique.
Wow. You can actually do
Yeah.
that now. Wow.
Yeah, which, is not it's maybe bad, but it also is kind of it makes it feel grimier, which is fun.
Yeah, when I first came here to the Atlanta area, it was like the tail end of where you could really smoke
Mm-hmm.
and inside. Actually, I come home smelling. I used to go to this tavern in Decatur, Georgia, called Trackside Tavern, which is right near the railroad over there. I'd come back smelling. There was so much smoke. I was like, Gosh, it's you just soak in it. So, one of my favorite tracks is "I Can't Bring My Blue-Haired Partner Home for Christmas." That's I like
Sure.
the little humor in there, and you have a lovely guitar solo in there as well. That's a great track.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. That's a fun one. I think that's a song I wrote and I was like, I will never get away with this. It's like too stupid or something. But weirdly enough, that's a song that more than almost any other song, people will come up to me afterwards and be emotional about. You know, I had one time I had this woman who was like sobbing so hard about the song that I didn't even, it took me a while to understand what she was saying. And like, you know, it's funny that it is a joke, but I think a lot of people struggle with the fact that their parents don't accept them as they are for whatever reason. And yeah, I have fun with that one.
Yeah,
My friend Albine
yeah, it's interesting.
Mhm.
Um,
Albine is this guy Albine DeFreitas was the lead guitar player of that. He was kind of
cool.
like he doesn't really play in bands, but he's like obsessed with the guitar. He's like a virtuoso, but like nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
But he's like my friend and probably my biggest guitar inspiration. And he's just like some guy, but I was really grateful to have him on the song. He's got that good country kind of like sh guitar thing down.
Yeah, yeah, it's perfect. It really is. But you're bringing home somebody, for the family to meet, and that's it puts you in a weird place if you feel like, oh, this person is like an alien to them and not
Mhm.
being accepted.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I definitely, yeah. It's mostly true, mostly true song, mostly 100% true. But you know.
Yeah.
I experienced it, but it wasn't the end of the world. I was talking to another friend about that song the other day, and they're like, oh, you know, this song, you're so pure of heart, whatever, for loving these people. But then it's like, that's not really true because there were these people I liked, but I really did choose not to pursue a relationship with different people because I thought that they would affect, like my parents wouldn't like them. And so it's like, it's actually like kind of a song of, it's almost like embarrassing because it's like true. Like I
Hmm.
really did like shirk off people that, you know, maybe, you know, I would have been close with them, but it was just, I didn't want to deal with the, not what's the word? I just didn't want the disappointment that I
Right.
imagined be there, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of us could relate to that. And when you were castrated, this kind of has some of the father issues in there as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and a lot of us, we have these, from a lot of our times, these more macho type, strong father figures in our lives, and then when they get older, they really mellow out. And,
Mhm.
I've definitely seen that with my dad. And you see that vulnerable side. It's like, wow, there were times, yeah, he was a lot more emotional than I ever thought he was, even though he put up
Right.
this, real powerful masculine front.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah. I mean, it was a crazy difference with my dad. I mean, truly like a powerful man who I'd be afraid to like sneeze wrong around or something. And like, you know, in his old age, it was like almost like he was pathetic. You know what I mean? It's like
Isn't that
the level
amazing?
of difference was so extreme. And it was like, yeah, and it was hard to see. I mean, obviously you think that, you know, also someday that'll be me. But like, yeah, it's weird the way that age and sickness it just takes you down to your core, maybe.
Yeah. And if they're older and probably older
Mhm.
than my generation, baby boomer and up,
Mhm.
they were raised in a different culture in that sense too, where you
Mhm.
had to put on that whole image. And then, yeah, when you get older, it's like you so beyond mellow out and
Mhm.
you totally not the same thing. And it's a weird thing to try to reconcile over time.
For sure, for sure. I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, it was like he was a criminal, right? So
Oh my gosh.
it was like he was a con man, and
Did you like run Ponzi schemes or things like that? Or
yeah,
is it
he'd run,
really?
yeah, yes. I mean, I really got to know him in prison,
Oh my
so it was
gosh.
like, you know. this like 7 foot tall
Huh.
con man prisoner, and then it was just such a dramatic change. Such a dramatic change.
How long did
But
he go
he was
into
away for
prison?
3 or 4 years. Yeah. It was this, yeah, it was kind of a big scam. Supposedly it was the biggest scam in Washington state history. So it was like kind of nuts.
Crazy. That
Yeah.
really is. It's just like
Yeah.
you hear about like these Bernie Madoff characters and these
Mhm.
guys. It's just like, I think, and that's probably something to explore too. It's like you try to get into their heads. How do they reconcile
Hmm.
running something like that? Obviously they do. I would think you just lie to yourself quite a bit. Like, hey, I'm doing the right thing here. And I'm sure they probably think, I'm fine. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I think you got to really lie to yourself.
Yeah, and he did. I never heard him once admit that he had even actually done it. It was
Yeah,
always like they framed me, or
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
or I took the fall for somebody else, or like. But at the same time, like you're saying, he was also like a really amazing person, kind, loving person at the same time. Like at one point in his
Yeah.
life, he was a pastor. And then
Mm,
another part of his life, he's, running Ponzi schemes. It's like, but the
that's
two
crazy.
coexisted so closely. Like he was but and maybe they worked together because he was such a loving, kind person that it was easy to trust him. But he truly was a great person and also a bad person at the same time. You
Yeah.
know, and I kind of wanted to, that's kind of what Castrated explores as well,
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I think people, we had somebody, I think he was here in Georgia, a Christian guy who ran a Ponzi scheme. He was like, it
Mhm.
was a very faith-based. In fact, some right-wing radio hosts like promoted him and stuff like that. And it's just to see that dichotomy take place is interesting. And I think it's this idea of trying to be uber successful, have as much money as
Mhm.
possible in your pocket, and you think you're doing the right thing. That's the only thing I could think of how they could really defend that in their mind, and they
Mhm.
believe that they want to be powerful, and that is getting as much money as possible, and you think you're doing right by your clients. And
Right.
the scheme here was they were trying to like get investors to pay back, and you couldn't really get them to pay back. They would say, oh yeah, you'll get your money when my people pay me back. It's crazy, and it never comes through, and you're
Right.
shortchanging your clients and disappointing them, and it turns into a whole racket.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it makes sense to me. Like, it'd be so easy to be like, I'm doing it for my kids or something.
Right.
I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it to give them a better life. And in that way, like, I understand. And I think about like he was just a dream chaser, right? So he, like, in his mind, next week he was going to be a millionaire and we were going to have a mansion if
Hmm.
he just kept the thing going. And I understand because, I mean, I'm really the same way in that, like, if you were to ask me right now, if you were like my friend, I'd be like, oh, don't worry. Next week I have this client and we're going to make this song and we're all going to be famous. But it's like this mindset of like always chasing, 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 chasing. And
Hmm.
eventually I do think if your only goal is money and you're chasing money, eventually you're going to do illegal things. I mean, it's
Right.
just how you make money, really.
Mm. It's true.
Mhm.
It's true. You want to just do best by yourself, but the huge lesson is crime never pays, and to
Right.
be sent away like that has just got to be soul crushing. It's terrifying. I can't even imagine
No,
spending
I mean,
time behind bars.
he told me that one of his favorite things to do when he was there was him and his friends would all sit in a circle out in the yard and they would describe the meal they were going to eat when they got home.
Mm,
They would each take turns describing in exquisite detail each piece of the meal. And they
jeez.
would go, yeah, like we're gonna have mashed potatoes and they'll be buttered just the right way with a sprinkle of salt on top. And like he would walk me through the whole thing. And it's like that's how much they take away from you, that the thought of a meal is like the best part of your day. And so
Wow.
it's pretty bleak to see.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To have your freedom taken away, it's just, oh, horrible, horrible thing to
Hmm.
do to a human, but necessary to punish as well. Oh
What are you
gosh.
gonna do? I mean, you can't necessarily let people just do whatever they want, or
Right.
you
So
know,
true.
human nature. Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for stopping by. I really enjoyed it. And your new release, where can we find all this great music that you've produced? It's
So it's everywhere. So you can go on Spotify if you just look up Brayden Baird and the Once in a Lifetime Band. But if you're cool and you don't want to use Spotify, it's on Bandcamp
mm,
under the same name. There's a service called Nina Protocol, which is an interesting new software. I mean, Tidal, Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube. You can find anywhere if you just Google
awesome.
it. Yeah,
Yeah. And you're all over the web. That's
all over the
fantastic.
web.
Good deal. Good to hear and good to hear from you. And thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, great
Have
to
a good
talk to you.
one.
Have a great rest of your day.
Take care. Bye bye. How about that song called "I Can't Bring My Blue-Haired Partner Home for Christmas"? He's got a good sense of humor there, but you have to after hearing what he has gone through and all the stuff that he has experienced. It's just really amazing. Good guy, Brayden Baird. Check it out wherever you can. Until next time, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this or download me. Thank you so much. Take care.